Hi, I'm Sophie, and welcome to my world. Well, if you watch my show, you know that we do Q&As. And sometimes I get a lot of questions from one viewer in particular. And so sometimes I like to highlight them. Well, I have one of my viewers, her name is Shaelyn M, and Shaelyn M asks a lot of interesting questions. So for this, number 20 in our Q&A series, that is right, number 20, I am going to do a Shaelyn show. So Shaelyn, this is for you. And she's got 15 questions here for my 20th Q&A. That's a lot of questions, but I'm going to go through them really fast. Okay, so here we go. Q&A number 20, the Shaelyn show. I feel like I should have like a little opening number, like Shaelyn show, welcome to the Shaelyn show. Okay, number Q&A 20, here we go. Number 1, have you always had your hair short? No. When I was in high school and growing up, all through school, I had long hair. But then I went to college and I got so busy that I had no time to deal with my hair. And so I cut it off really short because I wanted to be able to wake up in the morning, wash it, and get to class. Because I literally was working a full-time job while going to college so I could pay for college. And that left me like no time to spend on beautification. So I learned wash and wear, and that came with short hair. So I've had short hair since college. How much do you annually make/spend when making crafts and throwing parties? Okay, so here's the deal. I am in a very, very high-end bracket on what I do. So my parties are very, very high-end. But what that means is that I don't want to give you like a number because I feel very uncomfortable talking money. But I will say this, we are at a very high end on our bracket in party planning. There's a lot of overhead. We spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on supplies, on rentals, on equipment, on insurance, on warehouse space, you name it. It's a very, very, very high-end business, but it's also a high-expense business. So it pretty much evens itself out. So to answer the question, like in numbers, doesn't really work because it changes for every single event that we do. But I will tell you this, we spend an awful lot of money on supplies. And of course, we have to charge for that as well. Number 3, were you named after a particular person? No, I was not named after anybody in particular. In fact, when I was born, my parents thought I was going to be a boy and my name was going to be Courtney. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, well, they could have still named you Courtney and that would have been a girl's name. But this was when 1965 and Courtney was more of a boy's name than a girl's name at that point in time. And the other thing is this. When my mother is a very, very, very tiny woman, very tiny, she's very, very little. And when I was born, my nose was like this and my ears stuck out and I had huge birthmarks all over me and my feet were curled up because I was a very tall baby and I was smushed into my poor mother's tummy. And when I came out, I was a wreck. And my mom said to the doctor, she said, oh my gosh, will her nose straighten out? Will her ears go back? And he said, hey, this is 1965, you gotta remember this. Hey, nobody's perfect. So my mother took a look at me and she said, well, if she can't be beautiful, let her be wise. And Sophia, which is what my real name is, Sophia, means wisdom. And so I was named Sophia Arlene Maletsky. I'm named Arlene for my grandmama and Sophia for wisdom. So there you have it. But I changed it to Sophie because I'm much more of a Sophie or a Soph than I am a Sophia. Number 4, what is the one thing that you could eat with anything? And she says, for example, mine is peanut butter or mashed potatoes, meaning that you could eat it constantly, like eat mashed potatoes with spaghetti. Okay, I have to agree with Shaelyn. I like peanut butter. Peanut butter is one of my go-to things, but my other weakness is macaroni and cheese. I know that's a terrible thing to admit, but I love a good macaroni and cheese. So I could probably eat macaroni and cheese with everything. Sadly, I probably shouldn't ever eat macaroni and cheese with everything, but I could eat macaroni and cheese with everything, and I could eat peanut butter with everything. I could also eat mashed potatoes with everything. But my answer to you, Shaelyn, is macaroni and cheese. Did you ever go through any phases as a child or a teen? Okay, I have to admit that I was a pretty nice kid up until the hormones hit at age 13, and then I really turned into a monster. It was really hard on my parents, specifically my mom, because I would wake up in the morning and I would be just like this total mess. I was like I would be screaming and crying and yelling and la 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 la. And then I would walk to school, or actually walk to the bus, because in junior high I took a bus. But I would walk to the bus stop, and from the time that I had vented at my mother to the time I got to the bus stop, then I became Happy Sophie again. And I was fine when I was in school. But as soon as I would get home, then I'd be like, because I have homework and I have this and I have that, blah, blah, blah. So I want to blame it on the hormones, but I want to just also say that I was just a monster at age 13 and 14. By the time I was through 13, 14, got into high school, I'd mellowed out and things were cool. I also, when I was 13 and 14, grew 6 inches. So like I couldn't sleep at night because I was always in pain and having these dreams of being stretched by a stretcher because I was growing so fast. Yeah, in that 2 years, I grew 6 inches. So I went from, like this little peanut to all of a sudden I was like 5'9". So that I think had a lot to do with it too. I wasn't sleeping and I was hormonal and blah. Anyway. At that point in time, probably people would have said I was bipolar because I was like all over the place. But you know what? It is what it is. I went through it. I got through it. Came out the other side. I still have freakouts. But for the most part, I'm a pretty stable person. Except when something goes wrong at my parties. And then I'm like, ah! Okay. What is your favorite scent in the world? I can tell you what my favorite scent in the world is. My favorite scent in the world is tea rose. And it comes from my 2nd grade teacher when I was in Philadelphia, Mrs. Davis. She smelled like tea roses. She was one of those people that had a scent and a smell. And I will never, ever, I think because she meant so much to me as a teacher, that smell means a lot to me. And to this day, it's the body lotion that I use. So if you ever meet me, you might notice that I smell like tea roses. Have you ever been to Indiana? I have driven through Indiana, but I've never really stayed in Indiana. I drove through when we were moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I had good friends that lived in Indiana, but I never spent any time in Indiana. Have you ever thought about running a summer camp of crafting? Yes, in fact, I do. I've been running a summer camp, a private summer camp, for 2 clients for the past 6 years. And it's 10 boys in each of the sessions, and we do a whole week-long course, and it is a blast. I love my summer camps. And if you want to know about my summer camps, you can go to my blog at www.sophie-world.com and put in summer camp with a K, and you'll see some of the fun things that we've done. I have great experiences with my summer camps. I love my summer camps. They are so much fun. If you could live in any time period that you choose, what would that time period be? I think it's one of these things because you always think, oh, I could go back with the sensibilities that I have right now. And going back in time, women's rights would not be what they are now. And, there's so many different things that would come into play. However, if I was to choose a period of time that I'm kind of interested in and would love to see what was happening during that period of time, it would be the Renaissance. Just because there's so much artistic, wonderful energy going on in that period of time with painting and writing and sculpting and, the time of the Medicis. I mean, I think it would be just a really interesting period of time to explore. There's a television show called Da Vinci's Demons, which makes it look very, very cool. But that being said, I also know that it would probably be a brutal time to live, and I'm not sure that I would want to live in that time period. I'm pretty happy in the time period that we are right now. Maybe if I was to change my time period now, I might take us back to the year 2005, because I feel like things weren't quite so rapidly moving forward. Sometimes I feel like technology is moving so fast that it's hard to get a handle on it now in the year 2016. So maybe I'd go back in time a little bit and maybe try to slow things down a little bit. But I'm happy in this century, this day, and this age, although I find the Renaissance very cool. Where is your favorite pizza shop on the East Coast? I love on the East Coast. I live on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, there is a place in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on Dairy Street called Italian Pizzas and Subs. And my husband and I love that place. That's my favorite place in the world to eat subs and pizzas. Awesome, awesome place. If you live anywhere near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, check out Italian Pizzas and Subs on Dairy Street. What is your favorite thing to do when you try to relax? I will tell you exactly what it is. I like to sit on the couch, wrapped up in a blanket, wearing my PJs, watching bad horror movies. That is the way that I recharge. And usually eating macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. Yes, and that's it. I get to do that so very rarely. I mean, it's like once every 6 months I get to take an entire day and do that. And when I do that, I come out feeling like a completely recharged human being. That is my go-to relaxing. I'm not a massage person or a nail person or any of that kind of stuff, a manicure person. No, 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 no. I like to sit on the couch and watch bad horror movies. If you had to pick a word that you love, what would it be? Okay, so one of my favorite words, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this, is I love the word stinky. I think stinky is a fun word. I just like it. Stinky is a good word. So stinky would be my word. Now she said, this is the crazy thing. What would you do if you had to replace the word for the in every sentence with that word? So, I mean, it would be a little hard to do, like, so instead of saying the fox, you'd say stinky fox ran up stinky street. But anyway, I like the word stinky. So there you have it. There's my word, stinky. What's your favorite go-to snack? Easy one, Pop Chips. I love Pop Chips. They're made right here in San Francisco, California, and I love them. If you could pick a certain time of day to be stuck in for 1 week straight, what time would you pick? I know this one easily too. Early morning. I get up usually between the hours of 4 and 4:30 a.m., and then I'm usually at my office by the hours of 8:30. That 4-hour period of time is the best time in the world because nobody's awake yet. I can get everything done that I need to get done. I can often get out on the water and do some paddling because I'm a paddleboarder. That's my time frame, like 4:30 to 8:30. I would take that for an entire day, for a week, no questions asked. And the last question, number 15. Has anyone ever asked you for your autograph? So, you know, this is a funny thing. So I wrote a book. It's called Sticky Fingers, DIY, or do you it yourself, DIY duct tape crafts. And the thing about it is that I signed a lot of books because of that. So yes, people have asked me for my autograph. But what's interesting is I do get recognized, believe it or not, when I'm in the supermarket, or the other day I was recognized at Target. And they don't ask for my autograph, they ask for a picture, like a cell phone picture with me. So I think that's because things are changing. I think we're much more of a visual society than we used to be, where it used to be where you would write things down. I think we're much more visual now, and so now that seems to have replaced autographs. So there you have it. That is Q&A number 20. The Shaelyn Show. Now, if you've got a question or you want to be like Shaelyn and be the next reporter for Sophie's World, just leave me a comment down below. Make sure if you like this to give us a thumbs up, and also make sure to share me with your friends, because you know what? If I can't be shared, I can't get out there, and we got a lot of loving to give. So come and check us out, Sophie-World.com. Don't forget, we got a blog, we've got crafts, we got games, we got everything. Sophie-World.com. And thank you, Shaelyn M, for all the great questions.